Ted O'Brien is the Deputy Leader of the Federal Liberal Party, also Shadow Treasurer. Ted O'Brien, hello.
Hello, Ali.
Why do you think voters have lost faith in the coalition as economic managers?
Look, I think a word you used before that I think is important, regardless of political party, is the word trust. I do think that's key, and I'll come back to that in a moment. There was a phrase, though, that has always concerned me, and that's talking about, people going right or going left on politics. I think that paradigm of left or right really is for the yesteryear. Ultimately, we just need to have a political system that puts the Australian people at the centre and looks at what's in their best interest today, and then in particular the next generation. How do we ensure that they can live the best possible lives? And our approach to that as Liberals, as a coalition, is a belief that the economy just isn't the end game. We believe in a strong economy because it's the means. It's the means by which people can have opportunities with jobs. It's a means by which you can build the roads and the rail, you can build the hospitals, the schools. And that is why an economy is so vitally important, to ensure essential services can keep being delivered. And that's why we continue to be very focused on the economy. And over time, you have to build trust with the Australian people that you are being very upfront and honest about the state of the books, the challenges ahead. Because if trust erodes, and I believe trust in government is eroding today, then unfortunately it is harder for the everyday Australian to look at a politician on TV or listen to them now on a radio and go, well, gee, do I trust them? So I think it's incumbent on all of us in public office to try to rebuild trust that was far deeper years ago.
But clearly it would seem that trust is a big issue for the Liberals and not for Labor, if on 9 of the 10 economic issues that they surveyed people about to come up with this result from the Australian election study, 9 of the 10 economic issues, voters preferred Labor. So clearly there's not the trust issue with Labor that they're having with you. So I go back to my initial question. Why do you think people have lost faith in the coalition as economic managers?
Well, Ali, I can't speak to the report you're referring to be honest, because I haven't seen it. But I see a lot of different reports and surveys and even polls, and that they often tell you different things. I don't accept that the Liberal Party or the coalition has lost its strength in economic management. That's just the truth of it. As for analysing, why people might answer a particular survey. To be honest,
sure. Okay, well,
I'm not the one to provide the commentary, if you like.
No, look, I understand that, Ted O'Brien. Let's put the survey to one side. But if
Sure.
you don't believe that you've lost your brand loyalty when it comes to economic management, why is it that you didn't win the last election? The economy constantly or consistently rates are one of the most important things people vote on.
Well, look, I can't give a full analysis as to why people voted the way they did, Ali, at the last election. And again, with all due respect, it's not really my job to do it. There are a lot of good commentators out there that will have their views. Where we are today as a Liberal Party is we are going back to where it all started for us, and that is to put a strong economy at the centre. It's going back to our values, what we believe in, and that's the individual. A lot of individuals are struggling right now. It's the family, and we know that families right now, only 29 days before Christmas, are doing it as tough as they ever had. Today we had inflation figures out, and the prices of everything are skyrocketing. 3.8% is just a shocking figure. And this is having an impact on families. And this is where our focus lies. And I think
so what can you offer them? What are you actually offering them? What is going to be different?
So, Ali, the starting point, therefore, is to be really crystal clear in explaining to people, we get it. We understand the problem that needs to be solved. It's, politicians can try to go on radio or TV and talk about, it's, the left and the right of the political. What matters is people are hurting today. And I made a speech at the press club today And that was calling the government out because they're not being honest about these problems today. So a child born in Melbourne today naturally inherits $60,000 in debt, courtesy of government debt. The federal government is racing towards $1 trillion of debt this year.
But Ted O'Brien, isn't what people want to hear from you as the alternative government is not how bad the problem is, because if they feel it like you're saying they feel it, they'll know. What they want to know is what you're going to do to fix it.
So let me explain a problem and what we're going to try to do to fix it. Since Labor came to office only, 3.5 years ago, personal income taxes have skyrocketed. It has been quite extraordinary. So the average taxpayer is now forking out $5,000 more this financial year in personal income tax than under the last year, the coalition government. If you ask the average household, what could you do a month out from Christmas with $5,000 in your pocket? I'm sure they'd all have an answer. What do we want to do about that from the coalition? Well, only 6 months into office, and we're being into opposition in this term, we're being very open with the Australian public, saying we will take personal income tax cuts to the next election. So we are saying we understand the pain individuals and families are feeling because Labor keeps driving these taxes up. We are prioritising getting those taxes down. So the average Australian, because we put the individual...
But it's very easy to make the promise, Ted O'Brien. It's much harder to pay for it. And at the moment, if you're saying you're going to take lower income taxes to the next election, you're not saying how you're going to fund it.
So you're right in saying that it comes down to ensuring you have the money to return to the Australian taxpayer. One of the points I made today, Ali, in the press club speech is that government spending is running so high. I mean, government spending is running 4 times faster than the economy itself. And this is a really big problem because the more the government spends money, the higher the debt and the more taxes it needs. Therefore, the first thing you need to do to free up money so you can deliver more back to those who earn it is to stop the spending spree. So the government should be introducing rules, fiscal rules, so budget rules, to control their spending. Now, every single treasurer since Peter Costello has had budget rules, quantifiable rules, except Jim Chalmers, except the Albanese government, which is why spending is out of control, debt's up, tax is up, real wages down, living standards down, productivity down. These are all big economic issues, but most importantly, they affect the household, the person struggling before Christmas, families before Christmas. It comes back to why is this so important? It's because a strong economy is the means towards something else, and that something else is a better life for everyday Australians, especially the next generation.
Ted O'Brien, I know I've got to let you go. Just a quick question. I could probably answer it or guess how you're going to answer it, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Will Susan Lee make it to the next election?
Absolutely she will. Absolutely she will. And, you know, it's absolutely imperative that the coalition, the Liberal Party, go through to the next election fighting for the Australian people, the very people I've spoken to you about, Ali. That's where our focus lies. And for their sake, I hope that we're given the opportunity to serve.
Ted O'Brien, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ali. All the best.